Welcome back to Corey's Corner. I'm Corey. This is my corner, and today I got a very special guest. He can lift almost everything, I would say. His name's Adam Keene, exercise science major. You're a junior. Welcome on. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. It's awesome. Glad to be here. I've seen a lot of your videos and stuff like that, so I'm glad I get to sit in this seat now and be in your corner, man. You know.
Awesome. Yeah, love it. We were talking earlier. Exercise science major. What do you want to do with that?
So when I first found Bellarmine, I actually found it. My father went to Bellarmine, but I never really was sure I wanted to go to Bellarmine. I kind of was looking other places because originally in high school I wanted to be a PE health coach, and it was because of a very special coach I had, Coach Myers at Fern Creek High School. He's a real cool dude, got me into lifting and stuff like that. But then I saw my cousin, who's older than me by a significant amount. He's in his mid-40s, something like that. He's my mom's cousin, he's my cousin, right? So his name's Chad Scott. He's the head strength conditioning coach at Liberty University.
Okay.
And at the time, he was at a different place. But I saw him, and I was like, that's what I want to do. I was like, that fits me the best because I don't got to worry about kids misbehaving and stuff like that. It's just like weight room, what we're doing on the track. That stuff I like, so that's what I want to do, strength conditioning coaching for sure.
Okay. So with the strength and conditioning coach, do you have a school that you want to go to? Do you want to do it at like the collegiate level, or do you want to do like with high schools?
I really am looking for collegiate, definitely. My dream since I was a little kid it was to move out west when I graduated, so I definitely want to look at schools out in the west region, Colorado, Wyoming, stuff like that.
That's awesome,
yeah. Yeah, I love it. It's beautiful out there.
You could be a strength and conditioning coach for Colorado with Deion Sanders.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be cool.
Hey,
I love to work with Deion. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. What got you in, like you said, your coach? Mm-hmm. What sports did you play?
So I played all 4 years of golf. Actually, okay. It was really funny because you wouldn't think he's a golf guy, but I do love golf. I did play basketball as well in high school. So, and then obviously out of actual like organized sports that I've actually done, that I play basketball all year long. I actually have a basketball league. Okay. During the summer I do. It's a 2v2 basketball league I do over the summer. I have my own like home court. I don't know if you know Anthony Steimer. He was my teammate for the past 2 seasons.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been great. I love that. It's
Has it grown?
Dream. Oh yeah, it went from the very start. We only had 3 or 3.5 teams basically because they had one guy by himself and they had to like get teammates with him. And then now this year we're looking for like 7 to 8 teams and stuff like that.
Wow. That's awesome. Wow.
It is awesome.
Do you all have like a championship trophy? Is there money on the line?
We've talked about money, but we're real competitive. So if we put money in it, it might be we just use it for the ego because you get to brag all year long to your friends like, hey, I won the chip. I said me and Anthony we've won both years so far. So
wow.
I got a new teammate this year, so we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
But I'm excited. New team.
Did they say that you had to get a new teammate, or what was up with that?
Well, yeah. Anthony was like he wanted to retire from it basically because he's graduating this year, so he wanted to move on. But it seemed there was gonna be new guys in the league, and it was gonna be there's some new talent. I know another guy, Logan Funderburg. Okay. He's another guy who's playing. He won a national championship in high school as a basketball player. So it's gonna be interesting competing against someone like that. And also, as I didn't mention about this, by the way, big thing about this league, we play on like 8 foot, by the way.
Oh, okay.
It's not this regular 10-foot basketball.
They need to do that.
Dude, it's so much fun. Like it's because I feel like prime Shaq out there.
Yeah,
like,
that's awesome.
Just dunking and stuff like that. It's like because I never was able to dunk. Like I was able to touch rim when I was in high school, but I was never able to dunk. And then I got people now, real actual athletes that can dunk on 10 foot, play on that. That's fun.
That is fun. That sounds like fun.
It is really fun.
That's
just
cool.
With the boys in the summer,
So what got you into lifting? Because golf and basketball, those aren't typical sports where you do a lot of lifting.
Mm-hmm. So originally, I've always been a big guy. I grew up a big guy and stuff like that, but I never was really a lifter and stuff like that. But in high school, I had a PE class that I was made to take, and I was told by everyone that he was just like the hardest teacher like ever, and like he was gonna make you couldn't sit for a second. It was just so hard, and it worried me. And everybody's like, "Oh, you're gonna hate that class," and I was like, but I went into it, and he just was like, he connected with me. It wasn't like a class. It was like man, I understand you. It's like you want to be better yourself, and like the lifting aspect really came to me. I was like, man, now cardio's always been something I'm like, it's just, that's never clicked with me as well as weightlifting. But recently, I went through some really tough stuff. Last 2 months ago, I got mono and COVID at the same time, and it was really rough. So it put back my my weightlifting, and I already had problems with strongman, just injury wise and stuff like that, because I have done a episode on myself about strongman here. So
that was with Gary, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was with Gary. Yeah, I loved it. I love strongman, but it was just beating down my body so much that I was losing enjoyment of it. It's like one of those things where it's like, man, you love it, but it just hurts, and it's just like, man. So then I really been the last 3 weeks I've been able to actually lift again. I've been really getting into bodybuilding. I'm really liking the hypertrophy, the actual building muscle, stuff like that. Not just lifting as heavy as you possibly can, but I mean, I still can lift pretty heavy, but
that's awesome.
It's been a while since I've gone for at maxes, but I love weightlifting, man. It's just great.
So the strongman, let's talk about that a little. That's not your typical sport.
No, not at all.
What are the events in that?
So my contest that I went to, every contest is usually different, but the big thing about strongman that's different than other sports like powerlifting, it's a lot more abnormal lifts. So it's not just a normal bar to lift as much as you can. Usually if it's a max something, it's usually a max something weird. So it's for example, mine was an 18-inch deadlift we did for max that was basically that you had it off the ground 18 inches. Unlike a regular deadlift, it makes a completely different pull in it. The same way with a log. We use logs that basically they invented it by just literally cutting down trees and cutting holes in logs.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Wow.
I know. And now they got actual better equipment made, so it's not just so rough, but exact weights and stuff. But that's another one. And then always in pretty much every contest, you always have stones. They're basically just circular stones that you try to lift up to a pedestal or lift over something, and that's when you think of strongman, most people are that's
picking
what I think
up
of. The big stones and lifting them. Yeah, that's
Did you have a favorite one then?
I've always loved deadlift. I think that's just something, I think it's just raw strength. I love it.
Yeah.
But the most great feeling you can have is stones. When you go from doing a 250 stone to a 350 stone, that jump is so much different than a 100-pound deadlift. A 100-pound jump and deadlift doesn't feel anything in comparison to a 100-pound stone. It's man, it's so much harder. Even a pound more is it feels almost impossible.
Dang. What was the most that you ever lifted with the stones?
So stones, I have done a 376 stone to a pedestal that was about shoulder height to me. So I'm about 6 foot. So shoulder height for me. So it's pretty tough. But
with that, do they they just go shoulder height with everybody?
So what they do is, it depends on competition, but most have pedestals where it kind of makes it an advantage to be taller, where the tallest one, it will be the lightest weight, and then they'll go down. Okay. So basically, if there's some strongmen that are 7 foot tall, and that gives them an advantage because they're able to lift it. They're their shoulder lift to me would be to their stomach, right? So it's it's a big advantage, but there's advantages in everything, of course.
Okay, yeah. Dang. There's so much. I didn't know there was that much that went into that. That was really cool.
There is, man. It's crazy.
What's the training like? Are you practicing that, or are you just practicing in a normal gym?
So when I train for strongman, I definitely would say you got to train it it's a little bit of both, because you got to think about you don't want to put away the basics, because the basics is what everyone got there from the basics.
Yeah.
So learning to do stones and learning to do all stuff, you need the gym equipment for it, but I think anyone can learn how to do it without even having one of those equipment. You just got to know the right, just where you're putting your hands on stuff, and just finding the right gym equipment of machines to be able to find your way to do it.
Yeah, so everything can be practiced in a gym.
Sure, I think so.
And then you're moving into more, since you, what were the injuries that you?
So one really bad one that I had was that I had a hernia basically, and it was from deadlifting, because I was practicing for my 18-inch, but then the next competition I was going to do was another 18-inch, but it was a different size. It was a thicker bar, and I just kept having problems. I was it hurt. It was just hurt to even bend over to do anything, and it was just it's really rough. Then I also dislocated my finger on. I was doing a rope pull where you pull it towards you, and I had knee sleeves on, and you're pressing off with your feet.
Yeah.
So I went to grab it, and my finger went underneath the knee sleeve, and my finger went touched the back of my hand. Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was
but
bad.
that was gross.
Yeah, it was real gross. It wasn't fun. I completed the lift, you can say that. I did finish
Dang.
it. So
You finished the lift?
I finished the lift. It hurt. I was like, man, that hurt. I don't know what happened. But then I looked back and I was
Just
like,
lift your
my
finger
finger
up.
was a little sideways. I was like, that don't look right, you know? It's
Yeah.
like, but it's just like with strongman, that's one thing that you have to be. That's one of the sports that I believe. I believe that you have to be committed to sports to be good at them. But something like strongman, if you even have a slight doubt in you that you're like, I'm not sure if I want to do this forever and stuff like that, that can you won't improve.
Yeah.
You can't. It's just it won't happen. Your body won't let you.
And you also have to think that you're gonna get every lift, even
Sure.
though you possibly could fail. Like you
Yeah.
have to be able to believe in that.
Well, that's the one thing that I love about the lifting of kind of like more hypertrophy reasons, which is building the size of the muscle more than just the strength.
Yeah.
Is that failure is the goal. It's less of like I can remember times when I went to the gym and my only goal was to get the 500-pound deadlift PR, and I didn't get it, and I felt so disappointed in myself for like 3 weeks straight, and I was like, until the next time.
Yeah.
Where when I go in the gym, if I'm doing 9 sets of something and I fail all 9 sets, that's the purpose.
Yeah.
That was what made me grow. That's the thing that made me feel better. And it's like, man, it takes the aspect of life that failure is just horrible.
Yeah.
But then making it be like, failure is not so bad sometimes. That you have to fail to succeed.
I feel like honestly in our society, growing up we're always told that don't be a failure.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes, I mean, you see with the sports team,
Yeah.
you could win every game, but
Mm-hmm.
if you don't fail, then your team's not going to get any better.
No, it won't.
So failure, I mean, you learn the most from it. As
I
I
agree.
mean, I have, I'm sure you have.
Mm-hmm.
How did you use the failure to even find where you want to be?
So basically what I would say is that it takes a while. I think, when you have your parents grow up and they say things, and it's only when you get older you're like, man, why was my mom always right? It was like, man, when I was a kid I was so sure that I was right, and I was like, just because you say you're older that doesn't mean you know anything. It's
Yeah.
like, but then all you're like, man, they were here 40 years before I was. They do know some stuff, and it's like, it takes a while of maturity to finally get that, and it's like, I don't think it's really anything that you can just, I think one day you kind of wake up.
Yeah.
And it's like, it could be when you're 20, when you're 30, when you're 50. One day you're going to wake up and be like, I want to be better, and I want to do something, or I want to do something different. I'm tired of this one job that I'm doing. I've done this for 30 years, and it's like, I thought I was so sure when I was 18 years old and went to college that I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
But then I woke up and I was like, man, maybe I want to do something different. And it was like, I knew that with strongman, it was like, I loved it, and it was great. And I'm not saying I'll never do a strongman contest again or anything like that, but it was such like a thing where I looked at other aspects of it, and I was like, I want to try this. I want to give it my honest try.
Yeah.
and go it. And if I fail, I fail. It's
You learn
part of
from it.
life. I'll learn from it, and then I'll move on to something else. And I think
Yeah.
that's important in life.
That's awesome. So what do you have in store? You said that you're going into more powerlifting now. What else do you have in store?
So basically, I want to do some more bodybuilding aspects, stuff like that. That I've been the powerlifter, strongman kind of aspect for a long time. My main thing is just to feel confidence, to be able to go out there and just do it for my own, almost. Like, instead of, I've had so long where I felt like I had to prove something to people and be like, oh, you lifted this, well, you're not as strong as this guy, well, you need to get to this.
Yeah.
And feeling like I have to prove myself. Now it's more, I want to prove myself. I want to be able to be like, I can get 22-inch arms. I can get a lower body fat percentage. I can do this, and prove it to myself, not to anyone else.
So you want to go into the more, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So powerlifting's how much you can lift.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Bodybuilding is what you want to start going into,
Yes.
and that's just
More physique-wise, and
Okay.
more just less of weights, more of muscle activation, basically. Just people always get this wrong when you ever hear it. If anyone here is listening that you're
Uh-huh.
to get into bodybuilding like that, people get wrong at mind muscle. they sit there and they lift something real slow and go, I really feel it. It's like, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
It's like, you just can't just feel it. You have to go really heavy, but you have to go heavy in your own way. And it's like, you have to control the weight and understand that, like, when you're doing this connection, it's a connection between you and the weights in a way that, like, they always say weights don't lie. Like, it doesn't matter how bad a day you had. The bar's going to be 45 pounds when you walk in the gym if you had a great day or a bad day. It doesn't matter. It's always going to be 45 pounds. So it's like that idea of mind-muscle connection, of just, like, really getting in, like, how to grow. How to not just grow with strength, but how to grow with size of muscle. And then, obviously, I've had my whole life that I've been a big guy. I was like, I'm going to probably be a pretty big guy, but I'd like to trim down a little bit, be able to see some veins and stuff like that. You know, I want to do that. That's cool. I mean, there's aspects of both that I've loved, but I think it helps when you've already been one thing. I've been the big guy that lifted the heavy weights, and I'd like to see what I can do on the other side of that.
Okay,
I'd like to see the difference, you know?
That's awesome. So do you plan to do any bodybuilding competitions?
See, that's the thing. I'm a very competitive person. I've said this to my friends and my mama and my dad and everyone. I said it was so funny. It's like, I'm so competitive that I say, I want you to find someone more competitive than I am. That's how competitive I am.
That's
like,
awesome.
I want you to find someone who's more competitive, because you're not going to find someone. I've always been that with sports and strongmen, that I was like, I want to win World's Strongest Man. I didn't say that because I was just like, whatever. I was committed to that.
Yeah.
And I fully believe that if I 100% gave it into it, I could have did it. So I'm not going to say that I'm going to go be out and be the Olympia or anything like that. But, yeah, I want to try. Why not? Why, if you're going to do something, why not try to be
the best?
Yeah, try to be the best.
Why would you not?
Put that out there. If you deny yourself and say, well, you know, I can never be as good, I don't have the genetics. Genetics is overrated, man. It's like, you got to you put your potential is only as big as you go.
Yeah,
like, your
definitely.
potential doesn't mean anything until you actually find what your potential is.
There's nothing that like growing up seeing like people like so talented.
Mm-hmm.
I was always the smallest, and they'd be like, "Oh, I'll never be the best," like, and they just like stop trying to practice, and I'm like, "Come on, you could have been so good." And I mean, you see these people now, and they're
sure.
You just don't. Being average doesn't get you anywhere, honestly.
No.
Like,
I don't care what field you're doing it. It doesn't matter. I know I'm talking about strength and bodybuilding and strongman and strength conditioning, stuff like that. But it doesn't apply to just that. It could be any field.
Yeah.
You could be a chemist. You could be a veterinarian. You could be anything. Whatever it is, why not try to be the best?
Yeah.
Even if you're given circumstances of be like, oh, well, you know, you're sitting there, it's like, you know, I'm never going to be the smartest person. It's like, well, sit down and read, man.
Yeah.
Take your time. The best people in the world, the Elon Musk, the all those people, they have 24 hours in a day. So do you.
Definitely.
They just use it better.
Everybody has the chance to be the best.
Exactly.
It's just what you make of your time.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for coming on. This is awesome.
Thank you.
It was great. It's awesome.
Thank you very much for having me on.
I'm gonna have to start lifting after lifting.
I'm here if you need any help, man.
How often do you lift?
I lift, so it's different from strongman to this. I'm lifting about, I do 3 days on, 1 day off. So I do it 8-day splits, what they'd say. So it gets me to be able to, like, have a little rest. Because rest is how you grow. You know, that's the one thing. You got to rest. You can't just, people go 7 days a week at the gym and go as hard as they can. They're not going to get big because you got to let your body grow.
How important is recovery?
Oh, my gosh. You give me a whole topic. I'd say 45 minutes explain how good recovery is. Like, people so underestimate recovery, and that comes with not just sleep, but nutrition as well. Big thing, like, I was eating 5,000-6,000 calories a day.
That's crazy.
To when I was doing strongman. Now I'm cutting it down, but even still, because of my activity level, because of cardio and lifting, I'm still eating 3,000 calories a day on a cut. That's the only way I can lose weight but still maintain my muscle. That's like it's a big thing, but anyone can do that. People overestimate how hard it is. They're like, I don't want to count calories and I don't want to do that. It's like it's hard because we see food. A lot of people see food as comfort. They're like, you want to see that macaroni and cheese and be like, just see it as that, macaroni and cheese. But you look at it and you're like, 64 grams of carbs, 3 grams of protein, 14 grams of fat. It breaks it down, be like, it's not so comfort anymore.
Yeah.
You want that comfort. But like just being realistic and being like, well, how far do you want to go? Like, do you want to be the best? Do you want to look good?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to be your best?
Do you think? I know what I said I was gonna, but this is great.
It's fun.
Do you think if people saw macaroni and cheese sitting in front of them,
Yeah.
maybe even has bacon on it?
Sure.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
If it had like a big label on it and it showed all like the negatives in it, do you think people would still eat it?
That's a great question. That's a big thing that I've been doing lately, and it started by my mom to do this actually. That she basically started looking at food and seeing the ingredients and just how bad, especially America is. With other countries like Pop-Tarts, Pop-Tarts are banned in Europe. You can't buy Pop-Tarts because of how bad the ingredients are in Pop-Tarts.
Will the United States ever change? I feel like it's going to have to. Like,
it has to eventually.
there's going to be something that comes out. Like, people are going to start dying, like, younger because of this stuff.
Sure. The dyes, the ingredients, the fake, there's like actually not eating earthly things that's made in labs. That's just, you can think it's healthy in some aspects, but also it's like zero calorie stuff and stuff. You look at it, it's like, well, why is it 0 calorie?
Yeah, what is going in there? That's
exactly. How can you how is a Gatorade 240 calories, but then a zero, it's Gary 0 and 0 carbs?
I like Cokes. I know I shouldn't be drinking them, but no one can convince me that a Diet Coke.
No.
They're both bad for you.
Yes, they're both bad for you, but no, that's one thing I will stand by this, and I'll continue, and we've had research on this and things like that artificial sugars, my grandmother, I love her, and it's really sad that she has dementia, and all she drank for 20-something years straight was Diet Coke. And I'm not saying it's the only thing. I think there's plenty of things, but I think artificial sugars, and we've seen things that say that artificial sugars and stuff that is made in laboratories that aren't actual cane sugar and stuff like that can cause what dementia is. America's the only place that calls dementia. It's type 3 diabetes. Is what dementia is.
Okay.
It's rotting your brain.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I think a lot of things can come from that, but it's just limiting your stuff, your really bad stuff. I mean, Cokes.
Yeah.
I understand. Hey, listen, but it's like that's the thing where it's like you want to live. You want to live to 80?
When I was playing sports, I was so good. Like I wouldn't have any Cokes, only water.
Yep.
Every once in a while, Gatorade.
Yep.
But Gatorade's not really that good. It's a whole lot of sugar.
Yeah, it is a lot of sugar. It's just you gotta balance stuff in your life, man. It's tough, but you gotta balance it.
Alrighty, well,
all right.
It was awesome. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
For next week, I know the Masters is happening April 11th through the 14th.
Mm-hmm.
Next week we'll be having a golfer on, talk about the Masters, whoever wins. I think Tiger is not going to win. I think he's going to actually be in the cut, so we'll find out. I don't think he's going to make it. Do you think he's going to make it?
I don't know. I mean, he's Tiger. I mean, you never know, but, he's getting older.
Yeah.
Time's undefeated, man.
He is. Alrighty, well, thank you all for watching. Hope to see you all next week. Thank you.